Hello everyone and welcome back. It is Christian from the Calcio Bros here to talk about Serie A once again, and that means we have had another weekend come and gone of some great Calcio, and we were treated to a lot of great results, couple upsets, and some changes that could happen and really make things interesting coming to the end. We were really treated to something spectacular. But also some of it was downplayed because of the news this weekend. I'm sure all of you have heard of the news of a Super League regarding 12 teams across Europe, and that does include 3 Serie A teams, which are Juve, Milan, and Inter. That is something I will definitely talk about. I am planning to do a video to talk more about it and share some of my thoughts. But right now, I'm just focusing on the Serie A review of what happened this weekend and what to expect in the next couple match days. We do have some midweek fixtures coming up, so I'll see if I can talk about a review after that happens. But I'll see how the week goes. It also depends on work scheduling and all that sort of stuff. But right now we'll just talk about what happened this weekend, which was round 31, and that really shaped how some things. Mainly, I want to say at the it did shape a bit of everything at the top, but a lot at the bottom because the bottom is really getting heated up too. It does make things a lot interesting, and we don't know what's gonna happen because there's still lots to play for, with only a few games left in the season, and some teams are really close to either securing the top 4 finish or even getting relegated. It's kind of tough to say, but anyways, let's get on to the results so that's way you guys know what happened and hear what I can talk about right now. So we're starting off on Saturday. We had 4 games played on the Saturday, 2 of them at 9 a.m. So that was on April 17th. We had in the morning Sampdoria, Verona. Sampdoria came back to win the game 3-1 after being a goal down. Then we had Crotone, who hosted Udinese. Udinese coming away with the victory. And want to guess who scored for Crotone? You guessed it, Simi, who just continues his scoring run. It is incredible. I think he reaches 17 goals now in the season, so incredible for him. 12 p.m. we had Sassuolo, Fiorentina, where the match finished 3-1, also thanks to 2 Berardi penalties not long after each other. 2:45, we had a spectacular result here where Cagliari pulled away with the comeback victory to take it in the dying minutes 4-3, and really does shake things up at the bottom. So this was a huge result for the Rosso Blu. Then we move on to Sunday, April 18th at 6:30. We had Milan hosting Genoa. Now Milan were only had 2 wins, all in 2021 at home. So this was a huge victory. They come away with a 2-1 win. So a huge result for them at home. And considering it is a 6:30 match where they don't play that well, they did come away with the victory. 9 a.m. we did have 3 matches. We had a spectacular game between Lazio and Benevento, battle of the 2 Inzaghi brothers, where Simone Inzaghi's Lazio took the match 5-3. This was definitely a huge goal fest. We had Bologna Spezia, where Bologna were very dominant in this game and took the victory 4-1. And the last 9 a.m. game was a very tight affair where it came down to a deflected shot in the dying minutes where Ruslan Malinovsky scored the winner for La Dea and secured a huge victory over Juve, their first in over 20 years. So that was huge for Gasperini's men. 12 p.m. we had an upset as well this weekend. Torino, who hosted Roma. Torino pulling away with the comeback, sealing the victory 3-1, and really helps with their survival chances. So kudos to them to getting the victory here. Napoli Inter was the game at 2:45, and that finished in a 1-all draw. Napoli halting Conte's winning streak. Eriksson managing to salvage the point thanks to a wonderful strike there. Huge result for Napoli, and it was a huge game also to stop the Nerazzurri in their tracks as well. They, as much as the lead still not, I don't want to say significant at the top, but it's still a bit of a distance from second place. They wouldn't mind the draw, but they definitely would have wanted the win, but the Scudetto is getting that much closer for them. If they continue just to pick up some points like this, it is almost there. So anyways, those were the results from round 31. What were your thoughts? What did you guys enjoy? Be sure to comment below. Let me know. Anyways, let's talk about some of the matches here. I want to start off with one of the goal fests. Or actually, let's track back a bit. Talk about. Yeah, actually, no. Change my mind once again. We are going to talk about that goal fest now. Cagliari Parma. This was a huge match for teams at the bottom. Parma were under Cagliari, and a huge win would not have gotten them out of the relegation zone, but would have gotten them over Cagliari and would have just pushed them a little bit closer to 17th spot. And this again was before Torino had played and won their match too, so they definitely would have put the pressure on Torino, would have been closer to them anyways, but again, they would have passed Cagliari and it would have been huge for them. But the one thing about Parma is in this game, they had a 3-1 lead, and we've seen that with Parma throughout the match. And they have leads, but cannot hold them to the end. We have seen them time and time again give up their leads and cost them throughout the matches, and this is what's found them in the relegation zone, as they were not able to hold on to victories or hold on to their leads, and it cost them the victories and dropped those crucial 2 or 3 points, whatever it was, whether they ended up drawing or losing. They dropped those points significantly, and it does show. But Cagliari picked up a huge victory in the dying minutes. They kept fighting and fighting. Once were up 3-2, they just kept mounting under pressure, and they just kept on going and going. Now, Cagliari, again, isn't out of the relegation zone, but they get closer to the teams above them, and it does help that some of these teams did lose. Okay, Torino won, but they're still not that far away, and it really shakes things up. Cagliari have a lot of talent, and we're just surprised to see them on the bottom. Semplici was on a losing skid as well, and with this victory, it did end it, and it hopefully will turn things around for them. But again, like I said, they have lots of talent, but I think, were ruined at the beginning because of Di Francesco, and that did cost them a lot of points. They got players like Cragno, Godin, Rugan. Well, Rugani came later, but Joao Pedro, Simeone, Nangolan, Nandes. There are a lot of players there. This team does deserve to be in the top flight, as they have shown they can compete. We even saw it last week against Inter, where they really held them late on in the game. But it is something that if they continue to put results like this forward, then maybe they'll be able to save themselves going forward. It also depends, yes, who they have to play and who the other teams have to play as well, where they're able to draw points from. It's still lots to play for, but at least Cagliari got on the good start, came back, beat Parma, and inching closer to to safety. But yes, there are still a few points away, but if they can continue to pick up points here and there, they might just be able to save themselves for another year in Serie A, and hopefully next year be able to really work these out and be able to stop themselves from being dragged into a relegation battle. But even Parma, again, still their disappointing season continues, as they had the ownership change throughout the summer. They also had a coach that didn't suit the player style and trying to adapt. It just didn't work, and it just was a whole mess. Um, just a whole mess from the beginning of the season. It just didn't help them at all, and it really cost them now in the season. They might just be back in Serie B by the season comes, because they definitely won't be able to get it, because 10 points is a huge gap in 7 games. Like, it's a really tough gap for them to get, so it's unfortunate for Parma after working so hard to get back to the top flight. Let's move on now to where are we here, Sunday's matchup. So some games to talk about as well. Starting off again with Milan, who finally got a home win, and it was a worrying side because, again, only 2 wins at home in all of 2021, and that was disappointing. They only won their matches against Crotone and Torino, and they did either lose their games at home, draw, they didn't beat Juve, Atalanta. Those were definitely tough games. They lost both of those games. They tied Udinese. They tied Sampdoria. They tied Torino in the Coppa Italia. They had to go to penalties for that. Who else now? Manchester United, Red Star Belgrade in the Europa League. They drew and lost one. They lost to Napoli as well, so there was definitely games that they dropped huge points to these sides, and it was starting to show. It's basically like their home and away form is flipped. They're winning games away that they should be winning at home, but then they're losing the game or not winning the games at home where they technically should be winning those. It's something, but Milan also came into this game without Ibrahimovic as well, as he had his one match ban from his red card in the previous match. But this was a big game for Milan because not we knew their Scudetto chances are slightly. It's 9 points. It's really tough for them to even get close to Inter. Inter would have to continue dropping points. But anyways, for Milan in this point, it's just finishing in the top 4 and not losing that spot. Finishing second would also get them the higher seed. But also, again, who knows what's going to happen next year with Champions League? That's another video. But anyways, again, their objective, finishing top 4, securing that top 4 finish after overachieving for so long this season. They won. The win was crucial because it did help put pressure on the teams under them, especially with Atalanta, Juve right under them too. It did. It did put pressure on them to get the win for Juve. To keep track. And it does make things a lot more interesting for how or who is going to finish where, but they needed the win. That was what was important. It did take a while for them, but they got it. And this is what they want. They just want to keep winning all their games that they can, try and hopefully change their home form around, and hopefully get where they want to be. They want to return to Champions League. That was the objective that Milan has been striving for years, but just coming short of it. So this is the season that they can make it happen. If they don't make it happen, then it would be just a disappointment. This is the time now so that they stay focused, get their act together, and do what they need to do to achieve this, and put pressure on the teams under them. If Milan keep winning too, it could put pressure on Inter, but I don't think so. Inter are in such great form right now. They really have to let it slip for them to really say goodbye to the title. But it will definitely be tough with only 7 games left and a 9 point gap between them. But anyways, Milan, huge victory to them. They got the job done. We'll move on to another top 4 contender, which is Lazio. Now, Lazio are on a great run right now, so they continue their fine winning streak. They do sit in 6th right now, but they are only 4 points out from the top, and they do have a game in hand. So that game against Torino, where both teams need those wins, and for Torino it's for safety purposes, Lazio for Champions League purposes. So If Lazio does take that win from Torino, then they would pass Napoli for the fifth spot and only be at 1 point from Juventus, and that is crucial to get them closer. After Lazio for some time were kind of struggling at the beginning. They really did have a slow start, but then a few winning streaks, and it did help them really bounce back up into the standings and back into contention. So now they're trying to get every point possible. Like I said, it was a complete goal fest here. They were up, I believe it was 4-1 at 1 point, 4-0. Maybe perhaps Benevento started to pull around with a comeback, but they managed to finish the job late on, anyways. But um, speaking of that, they got it done, and they need wins like this in order to keep going. They do still have Milan to play later on in the season at the Olympicos, so that would be a huge game as well. And that could really shake things up at the top, depending on how that one finishes as well. Um, but again, Milan's form away, they only have the one defeat, so it will be tough for them for both teams. But if Lazio can getting this, then it is crucial for them to stay in contention. Now, moving on to two other teams, speaking of the Champions League. Now, for Atalanta, Juventus, this was late drama, surely. Just when you think it was heading for a draw, both teams put on the pressure. Both teams had their chances, but it didn't seem like any goalie was going to get beat. But like I said, a deflected shot that sent the ball to the other side of Szczesny's net, where he could not do anything on it, really helped secure the victory for the Orobici and really gave a crucial jump for Gasperini's Atalanta. They're only a couple points behind Milan, a huge rise. They do pass Juventus now, and makes things all the more interesting because Atalanta also now have the head-to-head over Juventus. So if it does come to it, they could cost Juve a Champions League spot, depending also on how Napoli do as well. So lots to play for. Surely, this is a disappointing defeat for Juve too. This is their second loss in only 5 games after losing out to Benevento a few weeks ago. And it does put a huge dampen on Juventus's Champions League hopes. Not saying they're not out, but it does hurt because they could have pushed themselves a little bit away from Napoli too. But there are only a couple points ahead, and it depends how everything plays out. And Juventus don't have the head-to-head over Atalanta. They don't have the head-to-head over Napoli, so they really have to hope to finish with more points between either both of them or one of them at least, just to secure that top 4 finish and get them into the Champions League. So they better hope that Atalanta and Napoli don't keep winning, but they can't keep dropping points. But Atalanta looking for another year in Champions League, and getting that Champions League money is definitely going to be crucial for them. And Atalanta aren't big spenders either. They just know how to find talent for a good price and manage to really turn them into superstars and put a good team together. So let's see what Gasperini can do for next year. So now, 2 more games we're going to talk about. We'll say Torino Roma, so it would be the next one, and this was disappointing for Roma. But yes, they did have only a couple days rest after their huge draw against Ajax, and they won that European matchup. And we'll go on to the Europa League finals to play Manchester United. So that's a huge match for them to get really back into the Champions League and maybe find some silverware after so many years. But huge comeback for Torino. First half, they really did look like they were going to get a goal, but Mirante did put in some good saves to deny them every chance that they got. But it really, really showed the pressure on Roma. They continued to press. Torino finally found a way through thanks to ex-player Tony Sanabria, And it got them going thanks to two substitutions. Simone Zaza with one of his first touches of the game, getting the lead for Torino, and then Rincon sealing it late in the match thanks to some a defensive error from Fazio and some hard work from Andrea Bellotti. But like I said, this is a huge match for Torino just because it helps put some distance between them and Cagliari, considering that Cagliari had won earlier, and it does drag Fiorentina and Benevento into the relegation zone or relegation battle. Sorry, because Torino also have a game in hand. Because now, if they win that, they will also pass Genoa and Spezia, and it puts them in a closer relegation battle too. It makes things more interesting at the bottom because we really don't know who will be relegated. We only really know two out of the three teams in Crotone and Parma, but Torino are with under Nicola have really come around. One defeat in their last 5 games. This is crucial for the Granata if they hope to lead them to safety, and it does really help that Nicola has turned things around, really changed things uh, with the time in his club, and has picked up points when he can, not dropping them, not giving up leads like Gianpaolo did. So it was huge for them, for him to get something. But disappointing for Roma as they really are starting to slip up. They are 8 points away from the top four. It's going to be difficult, and especially losing a lot of these games to the top six sides, it's hard because they cannot finish level on points as the head-to-head is not there for them. So for Roma now too, is it time to just to focus on Europa League as um, it could secure them potentially a Champions League spot, to which they can get back into that, or they can just try finishing in a fifth or sixth spot if they can. They're not too far out, but again, other teams have to slip up for them to really put more pressure on them, and they can't be losing games like this. They still have the derby to play. They still have Atalanta to play. They still have Inter to play. So uh, some tough games ahead for them that we got to see what they have to offer. What they what the plan is for them, because again, Fonseca is doing tremendous work in Europa League, but come in Serie A, it's not really working out for him, and it's really showing the quality in the league. It's tough to say what Roma will want to do, but they will hope that they can figure something out. And honestly, my bet for them is made just to focus on Europa League, because that would probably be the best chance they have at securing a top five or a Champions League spot, because as we would get the 5 teams in Champions League. And like I said, I'm not worrying about the Super League. I'm just talking about um if everything is normal, because we don't even know what the hell is going on. But if everything is normal, that's what it should be. Um, so it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Giallorossi, and it's just tough, we'll say. But anyways, kudos to Torino, who got a huge win and really put something into their survival chances with this victory over Roma. Now, the last matchup, Inter's winning streak comes to an end, because it would have been huge if they got the win over Napoli. But Napoli, who they've also been in some good form as well as of late, and this was a big, still a good point for them. They did take the lead at one point, so would you still consider it 3 points or 2 points dropped, 3 points dropped, however you want to see it, but stopping the league leaders was definitely good. They did. Both teams had their chances as well. Handanovic a little unlucky though with the own goal because of, I guess, his little mix-up with DeVry, but both teams hitting the bars on several and posts on several occasions. Eriksson coming clutch, securing the point. And maybe this is why Inter also had their struggle at the beginning, is because Eriksson was not playing at the beginning. I've said this several times before. He really does make an impact. And Conte's just starting to see that. So he should have been starting from the get-go. And instead of Vidal is, I don't even know what to say, because that's just, it's a headache. He's just a headache on the field, a red card waiting to happen. And he probably has costed um, Inter several points as well. So that's probably why they couldn't have been first early on. But anyways, huge. It's still a big. Because I don't want to say it still gives Inter the point that they need. A win would definitely help them get closer to. Um, the relegations. Relegation. I'm looking at the bottom. Definitely would have helped them get into the Champions League. Or Champions League Scudetto. I'm all over the place right now. Excuse me. But anyways, it really does show the type of season Inter and Conte are having. They're playing tremendously well. Only 2 defeats all season so far. They have played. They haven't played. Some games they have played great football, but other games they are just grinding out the win. And sometimes that's all they need is just an ugly win. And because the 3 points is 3 points, and that's all they need, right? But Conte again does. I don't know if you want to say he got eliminated on purpose from Champions League, because that's just a shame. Anyways, we all know Inter is going to Champions League. Technically, they haven't mathematically qualified for it, but we do know they are going to be in Champions League. They're probably the only team that we know for sure will has their spot in the competition next year. Because the other 3 are still up for grabs, but Conte is again a manager who does extremely well when he doesn't really have to rotate his squad as often as it needs to, as every week, with midweek fixtures. He does struggle a lot with that. He does take the full week to prepare for these matches, and it does show on the field. And again, you don't need to win pretty, but you just need to get a win, and that's what he does time and time again. So kudos to Conte and the season he is having with the Nerazzurri. So those are my thoughts. If I did miss anything, be sure to let me know. What are your thoughts on some of these as well? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to quickly go into the standings before we get on to the fixtures coming up. And again, it is a midweek fixture, so I'll see if I can talk about that as well later on, or combine it with next weekend's matches. So we'll see how things go. So anyways, here are the standings. Again, at the bottom we do have Crotone last with 15, and again, if Simi started more matches and scored more, they maybe results could have turned out differently. But unfortunately, it looks like Crotone could be the first team going down. And they have also conceded 79 goals. So are close to conceding 100. They really would not want that. 21 goals in 7 games. That's about 3 goals a game. So could happen depending who they play. So keep an eye on that. Parma sit just above them at 20 points. Very tough for them to get 10 points. Also depend, because it does depend on how the teams in front of them do. So they do look like the second team that will go down to Serie B. Just above them in the third relegation spot is Cagliari with 25 points, so they still have the chance of getting themselves out. But then we have Benevento, Fiorentina, and Torino all tied with 30 points, only 5 points from Cagliari. And remember, Torino also have that game in hand, so a win or a draw would definitely help put some distance between themselves and Cagliari and the other teams under them. And it also puts pressure on Spezia and Genoa, who are at 32 points. Now, I feel 7 points is still a good enough gap between them, but points would be needed for Genoa and Spezia to pull away from that and not completely be dragged into a relegation battle between themselves, Fiorentina, Benevento, Torino, and Cagliari. So lots to play for at the bottom. Who do you think will get relegated? Who will be that third and final team? It is still lots to play for, and it's so tight. We don't know at all. Let's move up to the top now. We do have, again, Roma sitting in 7th spot right now with 54 points. They probably won't get caught by Sassuolo. There is a 4-point difference, but I don't think they will be caught unless they really start slipping up and Sassuolo starts winning game after game. Tough to really say, but I don't think Roma will get caught in the 7th spot, but they hope they can maybe move into 7th. But again, it depends what Roma wants to do, if they want to play for the Europa League and get into Champions League. That let's see what they can do. They sit behind their city rivals Lazio, who have 58 points, who are excuse me, who also have their game in hand, so that can really jump them up in the standings. As if they win, they will pass Napoli into 5th, who does sit at 60 points. Into the top 4 now, we have Juventus 4th with 62, Atalanta with 64, Milan at 66, and Inter with 75. So Milan with the win does have the distance between themselves and Juventus. They would have hoped maybe a draw would have been the best result, but they at least still have some distance over Atalanta going into their midweek fixture as well. Because Atalanta do have. Well, I kind of spoiled it there. Have a top opposition in Roma to play against. And it does help, just in case the Milan do slip up. They have that distance against Juventus, but it doesn't help if they do slip up and Juve wins. So it does really shape everything again. Hard to say who will finish in the top 4, but Inter have a good lead at the top with 9 points. And no, I don't think anyone will surely catch them unless they continue to slip off in the standings. Moving on to round 32 fixtures, and like I said, they are midweek fixtures, so be sure to catch them. We do have games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and here they are. April 20th, the Tuesday, we have one matchup, and that is at 2:45 between Verona and Fiorentina. Huge 3 points up for grabs. Verona just want to change their fortunes, as they've been disappointing in their last 5 games with only 1 win, while Fiorentina want the win to help their survival chances. Iachini only picking up 1 point since his return, so it's not looking good for him right now, so he hopes to change things around in this matchup on Tuesday. Going on to Wednesday, April 21st, we open up the day at 12:30 with Milan Sassuolo. So big game here for the Rossoneri. Another home match where they need to pull away with a victory against the Sassuolo side, who can be very tricky at times and really play some great football. They need to be at their best if they want to win. Milan need to really come together. I don't know if there'll be some rotation between both sides. We'll see what happens, but Milan need to call on all their best players: Rebic, Ibrahimovic, Çalhanoğlu, Benacer, Kessie. All the leaders in their teams need to come up big if they want to keep pulling away from the rest of the teams under them, and just continue to put some slight pressure on Inter, and maybe perhaps go within 6 points. So it would be a huge match and a huge win for Milan. Now moving on to 2:45, several matches going to be played. We have Bologna Torino, Crotone Sampdoria, Genoa Benevento, Juventus Parma, Spezia Inter, Udinese Cagliari. So now a few key matchups there. Bologna Torino, the Granata want to get a 3rd consecutive victory, and especially before they have to play Lazio. Every win is crucial for them, and they know they can beat Bologna. Bologna will be a good test, but they know it's not like it's a non-winnable match. They can definitely pull away with this. Mohavic sometimes has been her side hasn't been consistent, so it depends who can really turn out in this game and really grab all 3 points. Genoa Benevento, huge matchup, like I said in the bottom. Only two points separates these two sides. Benevento looking for a win, because that win would help even push them above Genoa and drag them back down. It really does shape everything. So the bottom is just all to play for. It's really hard to say. Juventus playing Parma, that should be a win for Juventus unless Parma pull a few surprises. you know, but I don't see Juve losing this one against probably already relegated Parma. Spezia Inter, it's I don't like this. Probably shouldn't be a walk around. Spezia did do really play well at home, but they could really test Inter depending on their day. And it depends which Spezia team does come out onto the field. So Inter should be on their toes, but it could be another victory for Conte's men. They could just be too much and just continue to pull away in the standings and may condemn Spezia with another defeat. And then with Cagliari, a huge match against Udinese. Again, it is not a it is definitely a winnable match for them, as they need these points to really help get themselves a little bit closer to the teams above them, put themselves within 2 points, depending on how the other matches go. But it is a huge match against Luca Gotti's Udinese. Moving on to Thursday, April 22nd, this day opens up at 12:30 with Roma Atalanta. So a huge matchup here. Roma need these 3 points just to get themselves closer to their city rivals, but Atalanta also need these points to maintain their distance or maintain their spot in the top four and achieve Champions League. Get themselves farther away from Napoli too, and try and just get themselves even closer to Milan. Hopefully, they're hoping Milan will also slip up and they can pass them into second. So it'll be lots to play for at the Olimpico. Be sure to watch out to see how that game will finish. It's going to be a very tight affair. At 2:45, we have Napoli Lazio. So another huge matchup here on Thursday. So two big games on Thursday. That's probably the day to watch. Again, the two teams very close together. Now, Lazio also have their game in hand too. So if they can get this win plus the win against Torino, they can really be marching into that top four. It would be crucial depending on how, again, the other matches go. But it would be a huge matchup for both teams too, because Napoli, if they win, could pass Juve if they slip up. So it's really everything to play for. These results are crucial right now. So be sure to check it out and let me know what you guys think of these upcoming midweek fixtures. Lots to play for. Do you think the relegation teams will get the points that they need to secure themselves, or are they going to just lose once again and be really put into a relegation battle? Be sure to comment below. Let me know. How do you think the top four will finish? There again is lots to play for, so I really want to hear what you guys have to say on who's going to finish in that top four, and how long till Inter will be crowned Serie A champions? I'm just waiting to see what will happen in the next couple weeks. If you guys haven't already done so, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Calcio_bros, and also subscribe to our channel. Click the bell to receive notifications on when we release our latest videos for all our Calcio content, and we hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao!